60 seconds. That is all you need. Just one single minute. In fact, if you do this with the absolute right intensity, the exact right conviction, you won't even need a full minute. That specific person who has been drowning you in silence for days, weeks, maybe even months. The one who acts as if they have erased you from their life, like you never even existed. They are going to grab their phone with trembling hands and call you. And no, this won't be just a casual hello. This isn't a simple "how are you" text. They will call you with a shaking voice, perhaps even in tears. They will reach out to you right at the exact moment that the massive wall they built between you two crumbles, along with their shattered pride. As they desperately search for the words their ego has forbidden them to say all this time, they won't even understand why they are doing it. They won't be able to explain what is happening to them or where this sudden shift came from. They will just feel such an overwhelming, deeply physical, and undeniable need for you. Dialing your number will be the absolute only cure to soothe that relentless pressure, suddenly crushing the center of their chest. This is exactly what happens when you trigger the magnificent mechanism that Carl Jung discovered in the deepest layers of the human unconscious. And today, I am going to teach you exactly how to do this in just 60 seconds. But before I give you this powerful technique, there is something crucial you must understand. If you are here right now, it is because the pain inside you has reached an unbearable breaking point. You didn't click on this video out of simple curiosity. You are here because that specific person's silence is consuming you from the inside out. Right now, you might be so exhausted that you want to completely escape this chaotic, painful human experience. Sometimes, the urge to just sink to the bottom of the ocean and become a sea sponge, doing absolutely nothing, feeling absolutely nothing, seems so much more tempting than enduring this ache. Because every single hour that passes without a word from them feels as heavy as a lifetime. You've already tried everything. You texted them, you called them, you sent those long, emotionally heavy paragraphs explaining your feelings in the most transparent way possible. Or perhaps, even worse, you buried yourself in silence, waiting for them to react on their own. And the only thing you got in return was more emptiness, more nothingness, more deafening silence. And the question constantly eating away at your mind is always the same. Have they already forgotten me? Was it really that easy for them to just throw me away? Do they genuinely feel nothing in response to this fire burning inside of me? The answer is no, they haven't forgotten you. It was never easy for them. And yes, they are feeling far more than you could ever imagine. But their ego has built such a thick, impenetrable fortress around everything they feel for you that they can't even access their own emotions anymore. They are trapped inside the iron vault of their ego, locked in an emotional prison of their own making, and they don't know how to get out. Or worse, they don't want to get out, because stepping out of that prison, breaking through the rigid walls of their pride, means confessing that they need you. Confessing that they need you means losing control. And losing control is the one thing they are most terrified of in this world. Almost a century ago, Carl Jung stated a brutal truth that still carries the exact same shattering impact today. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. By ignoring you, by silencing you, by acting as if you don't exist, all that specific person is doing is burying their feelings for you into the darkest corners of their unconscious. But if there is one thing Jung's work proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, it is that buried emotions never die. They grow in the dark, they ferment, they mutate, and eventually, they reach a level of power that the person can no longer control, and one day, they absolutely detonate. Well, today is that day. If you are truly ready to trigger this emotional avalanche, scroll down right now and type, "They will call me today." Don't overthink it. Don't let doubt creep in. Just type it. Those 5 words will be the very first declaration of your reclaimed power. This is the initial step of the monumental process we are about to set into motion together. And I need you to do this before we go any further. Because if you cannot find the courage to type a simple sentence in a comment section, you certainly won't find the courage to perform the profound spiritual act I am going to ask of you in just 60 seconds. Because what I am about to ask of you demands every ounce of your inner strength. Good. Now listen to me with every single cell in your body, with your undivided attention. Because the truth you are about to hear is something you won't find anywhere else. Carl Jung dedicated decades of his life to studying a phenomenon that the limited science of his time deemed absolutely impossible. And he discovered this: the human unconscious is not merely individual. It is not an isolated structure trapped inside your own head. The unconscious is collective. It is shared. It is a vast, invisible ocean existing far beneath the surface, intricately connecting every single human mind. When you think of something with a strong enough emotional intensity, that thought does not just stay locked in your brain. It travels. It ripples through this subterranean ocean, moves across those invisible threads of connection, and directly penetrates the mind of that specific person you share a deep emotional bond with. And the bond between you and that specific person is undeniably deep. You already know this, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't be feeling this crushing weight, and it wouldn't hurt this much. The sheer depth of the pain you are experiencing is actually the exact measurement of how deep the connection between you two truly is. And that very connection is your ultimate weapon. Because through this invisible bridge, you can transmit a signal so intensely powerful that their unconscious mind will have absolutely no choice but to react, and ultimately to surrender to it. And that reaction is the exact crying breakdown I mentioned earlier. This isn't a cry of sadness. It is a cry of absolute surrender. It is the weeping of someone who has entirely run out of strength to fight their own feelings. Someone who finally falls to their knees before the massive truth they have been denying all this time. The truth that they miss you terribly. The truth that they made a colossal mistake. The truth that their life without you is a gaping void that can never be filled, no matter what they do or who they are with. When you activate the method I am about to teach you, these tears are inevitable. Because you are not manipulating anyone. You are not forcing them to do anything against their will. You are simply awakening a truth that is already there, a truth that their ego has been holding hostage. And when that profound truth breaks free from the chains of their ego, it always, without fail, arrives with tears. Always. Now it is time for that ultimate technique, the 1 minute, those 60 seconds that will change absolutely everything. What you are about to do is deceptively simple, but do not ever mistake simplicity for weakness. The most powerful mechanisms in the entire universe are the simplest ones. Gravity is incredibly simple. An apple falls from a tree. Yet that very simplicity is what keeps massive planets perfectly in orbit. This simple act you are about to perform will hold colossal emotional bonds in orbit and set them into motion. Just one single step. There are no complicated processes here, no lengthy rituals, no candles, no mirrors. All you are going to do is close your eyes. Place both of your hands, one over the other, directly over your chest, right over your heart. And for 60 seconds, with your eyes closed and your hands on your heart, you are going to repeat that specific person's full name, their first and last name, in your mind. Not out loud, entirely in your mind. Every single time you pronounce their name in your mind, you are going to feel that name vibrating inside your chest, as if every single letter of their name is striking the walls of your heart from the inside. As if their name is a drumstick and your heart is the massive resonance chamber where that sound echoes. That is all. Their full name, eyes closed, hands over your heart, repeating it non-stop for 60 seconds while feeling that exact vibration. Now let me explain to you why this works with such absolute, undeniable precision. Something that might seem impossible at first, but will leave you utterly amazed once you experience it. Carl Jung discovered that a person's name is a direct key to their archetype within the collective unconscious, meaning it is the direct key to their purest spiritual essence. A name is never just a word. It is not a simple label. A name is the vocal and vibrational representation of that specific person's core essence in the shared energy field. When you pronounce someone's name with a powerful emotional intention, you quite literally touch their essence within the collective unconscious. You knock directly on the door of their soul. And if you do this while placing your hands over your heart, that signal is amplified to a monumental scale. Because the heart is the very center of what Jung called the feeling function. It is the single unique point in our physical bodies where emotion is transformed into a transmittable, communicable energy. Think of it like this. Your heart is the massive antenna. Their name is the exact frequency. And the collective unconscious is the invisible medium through which that signal flows. When you bring these three elements together for 60 uninterrupted seconds, you create a direct broadcast that no obstacle, no logical filter, and most importantly, no ego can ever interrupt. This signal reaches that person's unconscious mind like a sudden, heavy physical blow straight to their chest. And do you know what that person feels the exact moment that signal hits its target? Exactly this. A sudden strike in their chest, an unexplained, overwhelming pressure. A sudden warmth knotting in their throat for absolutely no reason. They might be eating dinner, working at their office, or laughing with a friend, and out of nowhere, something aggressively tightens their chest. They don't know what it is. They can't understand where it is coming from, but it is such a real, such a physical, and such an impossible to ignore sensation that everything else in this world instantly loses its importance. And the only thing they can think about in that moment is you. Your face appears right in the center of their mind, without them ever summoning it. Your voice echoes in their memory, without them ever seeking it. Your presence completely envelops them, making them feel as if you are standing right behind them, even if you are thousands of miles away. And the emotion accompanying this sense of your presence is so overwhelming, so intensely heavy, that their eyes fill with tears completely on their own, defying all logical explanation. And that is the exact second they grab their phone. Not because they simply want to, but because they desperately need to. They need to hear your voice. They need to know that you are still there, existing for them. They absolutely need to drop that agonizingly heavy burden they have been carrying in silence for all this time. And the very second they hear your familiar voice on the other end of the line, that dam breaks. Everything they have suppressed, everything they have denied, everything they buried beneath their pride and a fake mask of indifference overflows in an intense crying breakdown. This cry is a liberation. This cry is a total surrender, a laying down of swords. Without even forming the words, this cry tells you, "Forgive me for ignoring you. I just couldn't take it anymore." If you are getting goosebumps right now, if you feel something stirring and awakening deep inside of you, like this video right now. That like is your confirmation to the universe that you understand the true power of what you are about to do. And the YouTube algorithm needs that signal so it can deliver this video to thousands of other people who desperately need to hear these exact words right now, just like you did. Now, I need to give you a highly critical detail about the exact timing required for this. This is not something you just do at any random hour of the day. Jung deeply analyzed the emotional cycles of the unconscious and discovered that there are two specific time windows when another person's unconscious is at its most receptive and wide open. The first is between 6 and 8 in the morning. These are the vulnerable moments when the person has just woken up and their conscious mind, their logic, and their ego walls haven't been fully reconstructed yet. The second and profoundly more powerful window is the deep hours between 10 p.m. and midnight. These are the threshold moments when the ego slowly begins to release its daily control, preparing to hand the reins over to the unconscious during sleep. If you perform this name technique during that nighttime window, the strength of the impact multiplies exponentially. Because you don't just send a signal when they are vulnerable, that signal directly infiltrates their dreams. That intense feeling will ruthlessly haunt them throughout the entire next day until they simply cannot take it anymore and call you. However, if you are in need of much more immediate results, if you want them to call you today, right now, do it now. Do it right this second as you listen to my words. Because there is one massive secret I haven't told you yet. Emotional urgency amplifies the power of the signal to monumental proportions. Now, I want to ask you a question, a thought experiment. If your life ended right now, and you were asked what you wanted to be in your next life, you might be so exhausted that you choose the numbness, the peace of being a simple sea sponge, just to escape this pain. But right at that moment, all those memories would rush back into your mind. The moments you were loved by them, the moments you loved them with all your heart. And do you know what you would say? You would say, "I want to be human again." Despite all the agony, you would choose that bond again. Because human nature is exactly this. We are souls who risk this pain for the sake of love, returning to this experience over and over again as return customers. This is why, if you are not radiating toxic desperation, but rather a pure, genuine, and deep state of need to reconnect with that person, the energy you emit is fiercely burning and infinitely more intense. It is the exact difference between whispering and screaming at the top of your lungs. You use your voice in both, but one is heard from miles away. But what you must understand here is that there is a massive, fundamental difference between genuine need and desperation. Genuine need states, "I miss you and I want to reconnect," because this bond between us is worth living. This is deeply valuable. Desperation, on the other hand, screams, "I cannot survive without you. I need you to come back because I am ruined. I am nothing." The first one projects power and self-worth outward. The second one vomits weakness and lack. And that person's unconscious gives completely opposite reactions to these two entirely different frequencies. When you broadcast with your power, with a confident need, their unconscious perceives the message like this: "Someone incredibly strong and highly valuable is calling for me." And the only natural response human nature can offer to this is to approach, to be drawn toward that power, to surrender to it. But when you broadcast with desperation, the unconscious receives this: "Someone drowning is pulling me down." And the only natural response to that is to pull away, protect oneself, and run. Jung explained this with absolute brilliance. The unconscious mind respects power and violently rejects weakness. It doesn't do this out of cruelty. It does this purely for survival. This is a highly primal mechanism we have carried in our souls for thousands of years. We naturally gravitate toward that which radiates strength and light, and we instinctively run away from that which radiates neediness and deprivation. Therefore, when you perform this name technique, when you place your hands over your heart and let their name echo through your mind for 60 seconds, you must do it with the posture of someone who knows their own ultimate worth. Do this not like a beggar pleading for a scrap of attention, but like a majestic sovereign, simply inviting someone into their domain. The energy behind the repetition is infinitely more important than the repetition itself. Now, go to the comments and immediately type this: "I summon with my power." Let this be your anchor. When those heavy emotions begin to swell and overflow while you are performing the technique, and they absolutely will overflow, let this be your ultimate reminder. It is inevitable. When you chant the name of someone you love with your hands over your heart, emotions will rise like a massive tidal wave. And right at that exact moment, you must remember and know exactly what is happening. It is not deprivation, it is power. It is not begging, it is nobility. It is not doubt, it is absolute certainty. Let's take a much closer look at exactly what happens inside that person's physical body the moment your signal reaches them. Because this is not just some mental game, it is an entirely physical reality. Carl Jung worked for years alongside Nobel Prize-winning physicist Wolfgang Pauli, one of the greatest minds of the 20th century. Together, they studied the invisible bond between mind and matter, and they arrived at a monumental truth that traditional science still cannot disprove today. Intense human emotion creates a colossal energy field that alters physical reality across vast distances. When your signal reaches that person's unconscious, their body reacts long before their mind does. The first symptom is a sudden, extreme acceleration of their heartbeat for absolutely no visible reason. While they are just sitting calmly, their heart suddenly begins to pound violently in their chest. Not because they are working out, not because they are scared, because of you. Your name, vibrating through the collective unconscious, has forced their heart to beat at the exact same frequency as yours. The second symptom is a feverish heat, a sudden illogical warmth, an intense flushing sensation across their chest or their face. That person will touch their face, wondering, "Am I coming down with a fever?" But no, this is your intense emotional energy physically manifesting itself inside their body. The third symptom is a state of deep, inexplicable restlessness, a sudden inability to focus on whatever they are doing. If they are in the middle of a conversation, they completely lose the thread. They stop hearing what is being said. Their mind aggressively drifts somewhere else, to you, to the memories with you that they thought they had long forgotten. And these memories appear so vividly, so staggeringly, that their entire balance is thrown off. And the fourth, the most devastating symptom, the one that actually triggers the call, is that pressure. That heavy, relentless feeling in their chest that refuses to leave, that grows heavier by the minute and ultimately becomes entirely unbearable. This pressure is actually the weight of accumulated tears, begging them for permission to come out, to be released. And there is only one way to relieve that pressure, only one way to escape that crushing weight: talking to you, hearing your voice, and allowing those tears to finally flow freely behind their collapsed pride. This is exactly what those 60 seconds you spend with their name in your heart can create. Not days or weeks from now, today, right now. I want to share with you a very profound truth that Carl Jung taught about crying, something very few people are actually able to comprehend. Crying is never a sign of weakness. Jung states that crying is the unconscious mind's method of releasing and liberating a truth that the conscious mind stubbornly refuses to accept. When that specific person calls you in tears, they are not showing you their weakness. They are offering you their deepest, most naked truth, the massive truth that their pride had chained down, that their ego had masked with indifference, and that their fear had mutated into silence. These tears are sacred. Treat them with profound respect. When you hear that trembling breath and those tears on the other end of the line, do not interrupt them. Do not dare say, "I told you so." Do not question why it took them so long. Just listen. Let them cry. Let them bleed out the poison they have been holding inside. Because within those tears, the massive wall that prevented the two of you from being together is completely melting away. And if you meet them in this incredibly vulnerable moment with deep tranquility, unshakable strength, and the wise certainty of someone who already knew this was going to happen, that person will feel it in their very bones that you are the exact safe harbor they desperately needed to collapse into. And when a human being falls apart like that in front of you, and you simply hold them with absolute compassion and zero judgment, an entirely new, unbreakable bond is formed between you two. This bond is infinitely stronger than the one before, because it is no longer built upon masks, lies, or egos. It is now rising upon the purest truth imaginable. If you grasp the sheer magnitude of this knowledge, of this ancient depth I am sharing with you, subscribe right now and turn on your notifications. Because every single day, I share brand new content based on Carl Jung's most profound research, specifically adapted to human relationships and spiritual bonds. You will not find the depth I provide here anywhere else. This is ancient wisdom surfacing from the dark waters of the collective unconscious, possessing the ultimate power to fundamentally transform your entire emotional reality. Now, I must warn you about exactly what you will experience immediately after applying this technique. Right after those 60 seconds, right after echoing that name in your heart, you are going to feel certain things, and you need to be prepared for them. The first thing you will feel is a momentary sense of absolute emptiness, as if you have just released a massive weight you were carrying inside, and that space suddenly became entirely vacant. This is perfectly normal. This is the exact physical sensation of that intensely concentrated energy leaving your field and launching outward. Do not be afraid. Do not ever think you did something wrong. This feeling of emptiness is the ultimate proof that the broadcast was successfully executed. The second thing you will feel is a state of deep, inexplicable peace that usually emerges between 30 minutes and 2 hours later. A tranquility that wraps around your soul for absolutely no logical reason. The situation is exactly the same. That person still hasn't texted you. But for some reason, you no longer feel that old, suffocating anxiety, that frantic heartbeat. This peace is the collective unconscious giving you its final approval. It is the universe telling you, message received, signal delivered, process initiated. Just trust. The third thing you will feel is an emotional nudge that can randomly strike you at any given moment during the day. A sudden, intensely overpowering thought, or a flutter in your chest that is so out of the ordinary, it completely interrupts whatever you are doing right in that second. That feeling is not you thinking about them. That feeling is them thinking about you. What you are experiencing in that exact moment is the invisible echo their mind creates while actively processing your signal. When you feel that nudge, just softly smile, because this means their unconscious mind has already surrendered to your name. The process has been initiated, and the clock ticking toward that phone call has already begun counting down. Because of this, do not desperately search for the signal. Do not obsessively check your phone every single second. Do not stalk their social media. Let it go. Release it. The collective unconscious simply refuses to operate under pressure. It functions strictly in absolute freedom. The more you let go, the faster you get results. The more you try to control and suffocate the process, the more you delay it. This might sound like a paradox, but it is an absolute, undeniable fact. Jung used to say that the unconscious mind is like water. If you keep your palms open, the water rests perfectly in your hands. But the moment you squeeze your fist, it aggressively slips through your fingers. Open hands, an open heart, and absolute trust. This must be your exact posture after completing the ritual. I want to tell you one more thing about the scientific reality behind all of this. When Jung discovered these phenomena, the scientific world was utterly bewildered. But years after his death, quantum physics began to definitively prove everything he intuitively knew. The theory of quantum entanglement proved that two particles that have once been connected will continue to react to each other, no matter how vast the distance between them, no matter where they are in the universe. When you change the state of one, the other changes instantaneously and simultaneously, without any visible signal, without any carrier. You and that specific person are exactly like those two quantum particles. You were connected once. You experienced that spiritual entanglement we call a heart bond. And even when you fell apart physically, that bond never ever broke. It is still active. It is still alive. And when you change your own emotional state, your own frequency through this name technique, that person's emotional state instantly changes in response. They cannot stop it. This is physics. This is universal law. This is human nature. And this is the exact reason behind their tears. Because when you activate that frequency of pure love and truth from the very center of your heart, that frequency travels and violently collides with the wall of arrogance and indifference they have built. And this collision creates a devastating fracture. That wall can never withstand a pure frequency transmitted from heart to heart through the collective unconscious. It cracks, it shatters, and through those fractures, the tears that have been imprisoned behind that wall finally begin to leak out. Today, that wall is coming down, and the only thing you need to completely demolish it is those 60 seconds. Now, I am going to give you an amplifier, a seal. There is something profoundly important you must do immediately following that 60-second ritual to multiply its effect exponentially. Once you finish chanting their name with your hands on your heart, do not dare open your eyes, and do not remove your hands from your chest. Just take one single deep breath, a very slow, deep breath in through your nose, and as you slowly exhale through your mouth, whisper just this one sentence. You felt this. Now come to me. Just that. You felt this. Now come to me. This is your absolute seal, your final punctuation mark. It is the most direct, unequivocal instruction you can possibly give to that person's unconscious mind. This is not a plea. This is a command. It is a bold confirmation. It tells their soul, I know you received my signal. I know you are feeling this heavily in your chest right at this exact second. Now, take action. Jung taught that the unconscious mind responds strictly to clear, direct instructions. It absolutely refuses to react to ambiguity or begging. It obeys commands given with unwavering resolve and absolute conviction. You felt this. Now come to me. This is a flawless command. It is brief, direct, and completely impossible to misunderstand. After you whisper this, open your eyes, lower your hands, and simply return to your normal daily life. Do not, under any circumstances, perform this ritual more than once a day. Once is entirely sufficient. The signal reaches its destination instantaneously anyway. Repeating it over and over again does not strengthen the signal. On the contrary, it exposes your doubt, it exposes your desperation, and you already know exactly what desperation leads to. Trust the process. 1 minute, one name, one heart, one sealing sentence. And then the collective unconscious will do what it does best. It will reconnect those two souls that inherently belong to each other. But what if the phone doesn't ring within the first few hours? We need to talk about the coming days as well. Because while the probability of getting results today is incredibly high, you need to know exactly what it means if it doesn't happen immediately. It absolutely does not mean the technique failed. It simply means that specific person's ego is far more stubborn, far thicker than usual. Some people's egos are like impenetrable concrete fortresses. The signal has reached its destination. The unconscious mind has received the message. The emotional storm has already broken out inside of them. But their ego is sweating blood, fighting a brutal war to keep that storm from leaking out. Their ego is constantly whispering to them, "Do not call. That would be a massive weakness. Stop crying. Pull yourself together. Stop thinking about this. It is all over." But the ego can never win this war against the soul forever, because that signal you sent doesn't just fade away into nothingness. It stays there, it accumulates, and it builds immense pressure. With every passing hour, that pressure intensifies from the inside out, and that stubborn ego gets tired. The ego always gets tired. It is simply a tiny matter of time. If they do not call you today, do this again tomorrow. The exact same technique, the same intense focus, the same minute, the same sealing sentence. And when the third day arrives, if that ego is still desperately trying to resist, do it one more time. 3 days. The absolute maximum amount of time any human ego can possibly resist a genuine, heart-centered signal sent through the collective unconscious is 3 consecutive days. Jung documented and proved that repeating any emotional pattern 3 times creates a monumental force in the depths of the unconscious, which he called an archetypal compulsion. This force is so overwhelmingly massive that the conscious mind can no longer contain it inside. That emotion overflows like a flood, and that overflow manifests as a physical action in the external world. A phone call, a long paragraph, an unexpected appearance at your door, or those tears they can no longer hold back. Maximum 3 days. However, the intensity of that bond between you two, that profound passion, and the sheer depth of the love you feel, that is the purest fuel for this technique. And because of this, the vast majority of you will get your results today. The more genuine and pure your fuel is, the more mind-blowingly fast the outcome arrives. When you get that call, when you receive that exact message you have been waiting for, come back here and write a comment about how your life changed after applying this technique. Even just writing, "It worked," is enough. I need you to share your experience, because every single real story shared in the comments, every single testimony, elevates the collective energy of this space to an even more monumental dimension. Every single person who writes "It worked" here sends this exact message to the collective unconscious. What is spoken here is real. This system works. This method transforms. And those signals of support that you send will help the people who come here after you, people whose hearts might be just as broken as yours is right now, to activate their own inner power with infinitely greater faith. Carl Jung dedicated his entire life to proving that we, as humanity, are so much larger, so much deeper than the small, helpless beings we perceive ourselves to be. He tried to show us that we possess colossal capacities that science is only just beginning to scratch the surface of, capacities it still cannot fully comprehend. When the human mind and heart align perfectly with that massive ocean of the collective unconscious, it can manifest those grand events that look like outright miracles from the outside, but are actually nothing more than nature operating at its most fundamental level, a level most people remain completely oblivious to. Today, you used that universal law in your own favor. Today, you awakened that grand mechanism that has been ticking flawlessly since the very first day humanity existed. Today, you reminded that specific person's soul that your presence is not some optional thing they can just easily give up on. You made them deeply feel that your name, which is permanently engraved into their soul, can never be erased by silence, by the distance between you, or by simple, foolish pride. 1 minute, just their name, your heart, and that single sentence that seals it all. You felt this. Now come to me. Do this today. If you can, do it right now, the exact second you finish listening to me, and prepare yourself to hear that voice you have been waiting for over the last days, weeks, or months. Start waiting for the phone to ring, for their name to appear on your screen, for that trembling, shattered voice on the other end of the line, and finally, for that truth to transform into tears of absolute freedom as they desperately repeat your name. If you are ready, like this video. Share it with someone who desperately needs to hear these words, someone who needs this depth, and subscribe to the channel, because what I will be sharing with you in the upcoming videos will elevate you to a brand new, monumental level of emotional power that you didn't even know existed inside of you. The ritual is complete. The signal has been sent. As of this exact second, the collective unconscious has begun working for you in your absolute favor. Trust the process. Release the signal and accept what comes to you with profound compassion. And so it is.